What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. MLB. Seattle Mariners versus Toronto Blue Jays, Game 6. So the Mariners lead the series 3-2, and they have a 47.1% chance to win. And the Blue Jays have a 52.9% chance to win. This is at Toronto for pitchers. Gilbert for Seattle has an ERA of 3.44 and WHIP of 1.03. And Yesavage for the Blue Jays has an ERA of 3.21, the WHIP of 1.43. So good pitching for both teams. Now, Yesavage has only pitched in 14 innings this year, so let's look at his career. But this is it for his career. So obviously a lack of experience, but he has pitched well, and so has Gilbert. So like this could be an interesting game. Obviously Gilbert has you know significantly more experience than Yesavage, and that could play a role here. And Gilbert has played better in the playoffs this year than Yesavage has. Like in the playoffs alone, Gilbert has 2.45 ERA, WHIP of 1.27 over 11 innings, and Yesavage has ERA of 4.82, WHIP of 0.86, and 9 1/3 innings. So this could be interesting, but I think due to the experience and with the better, I guess, performance in the playoffs, I think the pitching advantage is in favor of the Mariners. So despite the home field advantage that the Blue Jays have, I think with the pitching advantage, I think the Mariners will beat the Blue Jays tomorrow to win the series and go on to the World Series. NFL. Los Angeles Rams versus Jacksonville Jaguars. The Rams have a 58.2% chance to win, and the Jags have a 41.5% chance to win. This game is in London. Uh, honestly, I don't think NFL needs to put games in other countries. Just let them all be at their home stadium. Football is an American sport, so like from a money standpoint, it needs to just stay in the U.S. Like just from money, ticket sales, like from ticket sales, from a viewership standpoint, it's better just put them in the U.S. Keep them in the U.S. Like I mean, just that is just a fact. Like, and it's taking away a home game from one of the teams. It just is. Anyway, so for quarterbacks, you have Matthew Stafford for the Rams, 139, 209, 1684 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 receptions. Trevor Lawrence for the Jags, 129, 211, 1324 yards, 8 touchdowns, 5 receptions. So obviously Stafford's the better quarterback here. I mean, granted, Lawrence hasn't necessarily had the best to work with. And so the Jags are technically the home team in this game. Now, that means very little since it's in London. So, yeah, this could be an interesting game. Of course, obviously the major concern, with injuries, Stafford being late in his career, it could obviously there's always concern, like, ifs of Stafford getting hurt. And, since he also has had recent injury issues. But Stafford has played significantly better than Trevor Lawrence. I think the Jaguars, I think, won't be able to take advantage of any potential injury issues with Stafford. So I think the Rams will beat the Jags tomorrow. Philadelphia Eagles versus Minnesota Vikings. The Eagles have a 48.4% chance to win. The Vikings have a 51.2% chance to win. This is at Minnesota. Um, yeah, this could be interesting. So quarterbacks, you have Jalen Hurts for the Eagles, 117 out of 172, 1172 yards, 8 touchdowns, 1 reception. Carson Wentz for the Vikings, 69 out of 100, 759 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 receptions. So obviously, neither quarterback's done a lot this year. Like so this could be an interesting game. Obviously, Carson Wentz has not played the best since that big injury, like his second year, and now he's going against his former team. And then so one of the times, so the Eagles, their offense ranks third worst in total yards, and the Vikings defense has allowed the second fewest passing yards per game. So yeah, so obviously Eagles being the defending Super Bowl champions, and so this could be a good game. Now, honestly, if the Vikings win with Carson Wentz starting, that will be that will be a big deal, like beating his former team. But yeah, I think this could, and he's played, I guess, decent since coming back. Like since like he's become the starter. But overall, I think this could be a good game. I think the Vikings will beat the Eagles tomorrow, giving Carson Wentz that victory over his former team. Indianapolis Colts versus Los Angeles Chargers. The Colts have a 48.3% chance to win, and the Chargers have a 51.3% chance to win. This is at LA. So at quarterbacks, we have Daniel Jones for the Colts, 129, 1-8, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1502 yards. Justin Herbert for the Chargers, 146 of 216, 1493 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So, QB stats are comparable. Now, Herbert has played better than Jones throughout his whole career. Jones didn't start really looking like a quarterback till like that 1 year, like basically like before his big contract with the Giants. Then obviously he went to the Colts later, and now like he's playing decent, as the starter. Obviously Anthony Richardson, who's now backup, went from number 3 overall pick to being a backup as predicted. You know, so yeah, you have two like good rosters. That have Chargers having I would say the better quarterback. Now Jones hasn't been sacked a lot this year, and he has a pretty good completion percentage. Like this could be a close game. Now I think with it being at LA and with Herbert, in my opinion, just generally being like a better quarterback overall than Dale Jones, I think the Chargers will beat the Colts tomorrow. Atlanta Falcons versus San Francisco Giants. The Falcons have a 52.7% chance to win, and the Giants have a 46.9% chance to win. This is at San Francisco. So quarterbacks, you have Michael Penix Jr. Uh, for the Falcons, 98 of 157, 1168 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Mac Jones for the Giants, 113 of 168, 1252 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So this be a good game. Of course, Chris McCaffrey's still in. As a running back for the Giants, it's gonna be pretty good. Brian Robinson for the Falcons. You know, this could be a close game. Kyle Shanahan, head coach of the Giants, going against the team he was an OC at when they were last appeared in the Super Bowl. You know, when they should have run the ball against the Patriots. Yeah. So this could be a really good game. Like really good. Now, Robinson, like Bijan Robinson for the Falcons. Like he could have if he gets he's like if he gets 178 yards, he'll become the first since Marshall Faulk in year 2000 to get 1,000 scrimmage yards through 6 games. which is insane. So like obviously that's a really big deal. And now correct. So Brock Purdy is he's practicing on a limited basis, but he's still out. He's not playing. Mac Jones is going to start for the fifth time this year, and so he's starting for the Giants. And they've like basically Jones has led the in the 3 games that so the so Niners have won 3 games with Jones, and he's leading the league 313 yards per game in his time as a starter, which is pretty good right now. Like dang, and so George Kittle's coming back, so there's a lot of momentum here. Like there's a lot of momentum here. So I think with it being at San Francisco and with Mac Jones, so from a QB standpoint, like neither one is ones that you would expect to be Pro Bowl quarterbacks. But Mac Jones overall, I would say is probably been a little better, not much, but a little better. And with Kyle Shanahan as the head coach, I think especially with it being at San Francisco, I think the Giants will beat the Falcons tomorrow. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening, and look forward to the next video.